Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke are 3 young demon hunters who are sent on a train to investigate a demon that killed several hunters, but they quickly realize that the enemy they face is much stronger than they imagined. Their journey will go from minor to major, discovering that their own lives are constantly at risk. Fortunately, the 3 of them will meet Rengoku Kyojiro, a powerful demon hunter, who occupies one of the top ranks within the organization. Even with his help, will the 4 hunters be able to rival an S-class demon? Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke decide to put away their swords so as not to arouse suspicion, and hurry to reach the train. Upon boarding, they are surprised to find Rengoku, the prestigious Pillar of Flame, almost immediately, but their impression is not the best, as he only appears to be an immature young man addicted to food. Rengoku asks Tanjiro the reason for his visit on the train, to which Tanjiro replies that he is chasing the tracks of a dangerous demon along with his friends. He then takes advantage of Rengoku being the Pillar of Flame and asks him about the Fire God's dance, but is surprised to see that Rengoku had never heard of it and has no information to give him about it. Also, Rengoku tells Tanjiro that he had never seen a hunter arrive brandishing a black sword, but encourages him by telling him that he will be his teacher. The inspector appears in the carriage to inspect the tickets and interrupts the group. Tanjiro notices that the inspector's appearance is strange and becomes suspicious, at which point, the lights in the carriage go out and a fearsome demon appears. Rengoku calms everyone down and slays the monster by swinging his sword in one motion. He then senses the presence of another demon in the next carriage, and rushes to rescue the passengers. After saving a man, he quickly ends the threats and leaves the 3 young hunters surprised, who did not believe that Rengoku was so strong to be considered a pillar, so the young hunters ask to be trained by him. After this, the group falls into a deep sleep. The ticket inspector desperately runs through the carriages to report to a mysterious demonic hand. The inspector claims that all the passengers are already asleep, so he begs to be allowed to sleep as well. The hand mockingly congratulates him and fulfills the inspector's wish. Behind the hand appears a group of children, who are given the task of murdering the hunters in their dreams, with the promise that they will be able to sleep if they fulfill their mission correctly, as it is revealed that their strange appearance is due to incredible insomnia they suffer. Tanjiro's sleep becomes deeper and deeper, so his consciousness wanders among his sweetest memories. He walks through a snowy forest just like the one in his hometown. Suddenly, he sees his 2 little brothers and desperately runs to hug them, while shedding a sea of tears. Meanwhile, the identity of Enmu, the demon behind all the deaths on the train, is revealed. He explains that humans become living corpses when their spiritual core is destroyed. At the same time, the children prepare to enter the hunter's dreams. Tanjiro enjoys seeing his family so much that he momentarily forgets that the whole scenario is just a dream. In parallel, Zenitsu also falls into a deep sleep and lives a fantasy in which he has fun together with Nezuko. Inosuke's dream is strange, as he lives adventures together with his friends, but they are all like henchmen to him. The most revealing of the dreams is that of Rengoku, who relives the exact moment when he went to his father's room to tell him that he has become the new Pillar of the Flame. But his father completely ignores him and tells him that he will never stop being a failure, just as he himself has been a loser. Leaving the room, Rengoku meets Sanjuro, his younger brother. Rengoku feels a lot of burden for his little brother since he does not have the support of his father and his mother has been dead for some years, so he begins to encourage him by telling him that he will always be by his side to encourage him and help him to fulfill his dreams. Back in reality, it is revealed that the ropes with which the hunters were bound to act as a spiritual lasso for the children to be able to enter their dreams. The girl in the green robe takes advantage of Rengoku's distraction to run into her spiritual core, as she remembers what Enmu explained to them. Dreams are not infinite but revolve around consciousness. The girl manages to pierce Rengoku's unconscious and is shocked to see that his soul is completely on fire, but is even more astonished to discover that the spiritual core is completely red and incandescent. When she was about to destroy it, Rengoku unconsciously fights back. Meanwhile, Tanjiro enjoys time together with his family, but one of the children has already infiltrated his consciousness. Tanjiro descends into a lake to bring fresh water home, but instead of encountering his own reflection, he sees a vision of himself trying to warn him of the danger he is in. After this, Tanjiro tries to hide in front of his family, but he keeps thinking about how to wake up. Meanwhile, Nezuko comes out of her box and immediately notices that Tanjiro is in trouble, so she tries to wake him up. By making contact with his blood, Nezuko manages to set Tanjiro, who is also set on fire in his sleep, on fire in demonic flames. He recovers his sword and his hunter's uniform, so he says goodbye to his family and flees the place. On the way, he meets Nezuko and is shaken, as he remembers the days when his sister used to be human and live in peace. But after being shocked for a few moments, he decides to leave everything behind, as it is only a beautiful dream that he must give up. Meanwhile, the boy manages to enter Tanjiro's soul and is perplexed to see the purity and tranquility of the place. Simultaneously, the other two children are captured by Inosuke and Zenitsu at the moment of entering their souls, so they could not destroy their spiritual cores. Finding no way out, Tanjiro begins to despair, knowing that he will not be able to help his friends if he does not wake up. At that moment, the figure of his father appears and tells Tanjiro that the only way to wake up is to use his sword against himself. Tanjiro doesn't think twice and takes his sword and holds it to his neck. When he wakes up, he immediately understands the seriousness of the matter and decides to take care of the demon. But the children try to stop him, except for the boy who had visited Tanjiro's soul, who is sick with tuberculosis. Tanjiro apologizes to the children and puts them to sleep by giving them a gentle smack on the back of the neck. Then, the child remembers that upon entering Tanjiro's soul, some beings of light accompanied him to the spiritual core, since that is what the child was looking for, a reason that made the child break down in tears. After saying goodbye, Tanjiro runs to the surface of the train to face the fearsome demon. Enmu, who is the strongest of the lower moons, tries to defeat Tanjiro using hypnosis. But Tanjiro keeps using his sword against himself to wake up from sleep, so he tries to use a nightmare to torture him mentally. But Tanjiro's mind is strong enough to get out of the nightmare. Tanjiro becomes enraged and cuts off Enmu's head. But Enmu reveals to him that this is not his real body, but that he has fused his blood with the train, so he will have to hurry if he doesn't want all the passengers to be killed. Fortunately, Nezuko helps Inosuke wake up, so they both take it upon themselves to save the passengers. Nezuko is trapped, but Zenitsu wakes up just in time to save her. Then Rengoku enters the scene and destroys vital parts of the train practically with one move. While Tanjiro is lying on the ground exhausted, Rengoku appears and tells him that he will take care of protecting the entire train with the help of Zenitsu and Nezuko. He also orders him to collaborate with Inosuke to find Enmu's real neck and cut it off. Tanjiro and Inosuke follow the order perfectly and manage to locate Enmu, but the demon fights back by using hypnosis to put them to sleep. Tanjiro mistakes his dreams for reality, so he almost cuts his own neck in real life. After making a combined attack, Tanjiro uses the Fire God's Dance to cut Enmu's neck and finish him off once and for all. But this causes the train to derail, leaving everything in ruins. Fortunately, no one is killed in the accident, but Tanjiro is seriously injured. Rengoku helps Tanjiro control his breathing to heal quickly, but a much bigger threat than before appears. Tanjiro looks into the demon's eyes and reads that it is rank 3 of the upper 6 moons. The demon moves so fast towards Tanjiro that he fails to perceive it, but Rengoku saves him. The demon introduces himself as Akaza, one of the most powerful demons in the world. He asks Rengoku to become a demon as it would be a waste to kill someone as strong as him. In addition, he reveals that he hates weak humans like Tanjiro. This infuriates Rengoku, who tells him that Tanjiro is not weak and would never go over to the demon's side, so the two begin to fight. The fight between the two is an incredible display of skill. Rengoku is so virtuous that Akaza never ceases to be amazed by his power, so much so that he even goes so far as to beg him to become a demon. Inosuke and Tanjiro watch the fight dumbfounded, as they had never seen two such powerful beings. Inosuke looks for a way to enter the fight, but immediately realizes that he would only be a hindrance, because Rengoku and Akaza are in another dimension of power. Rengoku begins to feel the consequences of fighting so intensely, as his body begins to fatigue and feel pain, while Akaza quickly regenerates the cuts that Rengoku gave him. When it seemed that the fight was about to end, Rengoku uses the flame of his heart and prepares his most powerful stance, the Purgatory. His power is so immense that Akaza is filled with adrenaline from fighting someone so strong. Rengoku envelops his enemy in flames and cuts every part of his body, cutting through his flesh with the fire of his sword. Tanjiro is shocked to see that even with an attack as strong as that, Rengoku could not kill Akaza. On the contrary, the demon pierced the flame pillar's stomach. Akaza again tells Rengoku that he is too strong to remain a human, but Rengoku travels back to his memories for a moment. When he was little, his mother taught him that strong people have the gift to protect the weak, not to abuse their power. Back in the present, Rengoku uses all his strength to cut off Akaza's head. The demon tries to defend himself, but Rengoku grabs him so hard that he can't let go. Noticing that it is dawn, Akaza becomes desperate to flee, but Inosuke and Tanjiro enter the scene to help Rengoku. Akaza decides to tear off his arms to flee, while Tanjiro chases him through the forest and throws his sword furiously at him. As the demon flees, Tanjiro yells at him that he is a coward for not finishing his fight with Rengoku. Tanjiro bursts into tears, but Rengoku comforts him by telling him that his death is not in vain, as he has accomplished his mission by saving all the passengers, as well as leaving a great legacy in his 3 disciples. The young boys can't believe that Rengoku dies in that place, but the Great Pillar of Flame says goodbye to the boys, leaving one of the most touching speeches of the anime. As Rengoku's life faded away, he had an emotional encounter with his mother, who congratulated him for being so strong and brave. Watching Rengoku die, the young people become disconsolately depressed, but Inosuke tries to cheer them up, even though he himself cannot stop crying. A raven sees the scene and carries the news to each of the pillars and the leader of the hunting corps. In the end, Tanjiro cries lying in front of the sunrise, and swears to seek revenge for his king's death. The end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new anime recaps.